One of the regular features of every TAPA EMEA Annual Conference is an update on the association's standards and training. And whilst the standards themselves are well established, the work behind them never stands still, which is especially important this year with the revisions of TAPA's FSR and TSR standards going live in Q3. This next session will provide the latest updates on TAPA's facility security requirements, trucking security requirements, and parking security requirements, as well as developments in training programs, driver safety initiatives, and the TAPA cybersecurity standard. We'll also hear about recent engagement with the European Commission and the outcome of the member survey on the potential introduction of guarding security requirements in the EMEA region. So, to update us on all that, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Markus Prinz, Director of Standards and Trainings at TAPA EMEA. Markus, over to you.
Thank you, Sam. Yeah, good morning, everyone. That's huge. It looks different when you are staying here on the stage compared you sit in the audience. And thanks a lot, of course, also to our regional speakers. And optionally, you missed Celine. Celine, of course, has changed her role, but we have, of course, also some fresh and new blood for the French region, and it's Lola Chordy and Thierry Roger. So we have a double lead position for the future in the French region, and of course, as the entire team is mentioned, these are our ears and eyes on the ground, and I'm really happy to have this team. And whenever it comes also to questions in regards to the standard, they are always really supportive and helpful. What I'm doing here today, and of course you know me, I do my very level best to give you some updates about the standards, certification, training, and of course the future of our standard revisions. My plan foresees that I want to give you at least some more updates about the past, what we have reached, what we have developed, how many certs we adjusted, attracted, and let's kick it off and let's give you some updates. Of course, you heard yesterday from Thorsten already, we have some major information for you, we have some news for you, at least we have also some benefits for you. Let's use the next 30 minutes to give you an overview of what we have reached and what we are planning to do. Okay, let's start with FSR and facility security requirements. One of our fastest growing certification programs in the past already. And you see the figures from currently 1,265 certified facilities. It is across 68 countries and 17% grow in last year, and what means now an additional 184 certified sites. At least these figures demonstrate also the success of the FSR standard, and it's growing and more to come. Let's continue with the TSR figures, and also these figures are incredible and really successful from my point of view. We have now, in the meantime, 351 certified sites across 31 countries, what covers roughly 44,000 vehicles in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And I think that's also a success story, and more to come as we are monthly getting new requests, new applications for new TSR certs, and that's really supportive. Let's continue with some figures about PSR, and it's not only the certification program, it's also the partner program. And currently we have 192 parking locations, what means more than 15,000 parking spaces on that platform in our TIS database. So this is also an impressive 70% year over year, presenting 81 additional locations. Of course, we have heard from Dario, we have a limited number in Italy, but only on the certified parking places. And partner means at least they fulfill basic requirements, and in combination with the TSR vehicle, that's already really useful. And related to parking places, I'm also happy to have Snap and to have Travis on board, and they are reaching out to the parking place operators day by day, and they informing, they distribute, they share information, and also attracting new partners for you. And that's really important to have such kind of partners and security service providers on board. Let's move on with the cybersecurity standard, our newest baby in the family. And we have also now a success, and I want to ask Nikolai Apostolov from SGS and Niels Spoor from TCS, the cargo security company, on the stage, as we have to celebrate something. And I'm really happy about that. Let's welcome Nikolai and Niels. Join me to the bar. I'm feeling always more comfortable closer to the bar. Niels. Nikolai. And we have our first CSS certificate here. Let's go in front. And of course, these are the guys who went for that certificate, and congratulations to the cargo security company on the first CSS certificate in Europe, Middle East and Africa. You're welcome. And of course, Nikolai provided with SGS this pilot audit, and thanks for your support. All the best with the certificate, and of course, I hope a lot of more member companies will follow that direction. Thanks a lot. Thank you. But CSS means also the conformity. You all know we have the NIS2 compliance requirements. Or optionally, you have seen in the past few months in the Vigilant that we shared also additional information how CSS can support also the NIS2 compliance requirements. So please also contact us if you have more questions. Feel free to open the Vigilant, feel free to contact us, and of course, use the cybersecurity standard. And if you only use it, it's fine for us. Sooner or later, and that's what I always tell and explain also the students at the university, use the standards. And if you do not certify today, optionally in the future, use the standards as well as the regional leads mentioned. Use the knowledge, the requirements for your field, for your industry, and that supports your direction. And if you start with level 3 on TSR or level C on FSR, at least it supports a lot of procedures. Okay, let's move on with some training figures. And of course, I think we were really successful in the past years, and of course the entire team, our Indian colleagues, of course our admin team, they are always supporting day by day your training direction and our training direction. And training continues to be one of the most important strategic activities also in the future. And you see the figures only from the last year or between the Düsseldorf conference and today's conference here in Oberhausen, what means 706 FSR participants, 737 TSR participants. PSR is a success. Cyber, our newest baby, of course, we can and like and want to attract more participants, but it's not bad. And of course, I will come to the driver training initiative a bit later, but we could attract already roughly 560, 580 participants for our new driver training initiative. And this is also something coming from my heart and also from our former day job, where I always love to train drivers, and this is now an initiative we expand much more, but again, I will come back to that in a couple of minutes. Let's conclude the training activities also with some response and feedback, and I think these figures are self-explanatory. Ratings above 90% with strongly agree or agree responses on the FSR training. And of course, on this number, really impressive. Let's straight continue with the TSR figures also here. really supportive in our direction. I think the team has done a great job and more to come. PSR as well, also on a high range, very strong feedback and also nothing to complain from our side. We always realistically check all the answers. Also, we are dealing with concerns, also really supportive as we using them for our current revision process. And finally, CSS, you have seen a limited number of participants, but still really good feedback. Let's move on with some more information about the revision. And I think that's what you're most interested or interesting here. What are the next steps? What are the next plans? How we continue? And of course, when we start with the next trainings on the new revision. We already kicked off the revision cycle nearly 1.5 years ago. And we updated you last year in Düsseldorf that we collected all the trends, needs. We asked you as our members how we can update the new revisions. We created wish lists. We have also our sub-teams. I hope you know that we have TSR, FSR, PSR, and in the future also CSS sub-teams. And if you want to become a member of this sub-team and if you want to support us on that direction, then feel free to contact me. We always need help. We always need members' voice, members' information. And of course, these sub-teams are the voice of our members. And I'm really happy to have our leads with Stefano Grotta and Herbert Anwander on the TSR sub-team. Of course, I also want to thank Ron von Nijmegen to lead the FSR activities. And we have then roughly in the TSR team, roughly 8 team members. On TSR in FSR, we have roughly 8 or 9 participants as well. And we need more. We need more transparency, visibility, and also information from the field. And for the next revision, may I invite you, of course, also to join us in these sub-teams. Not all of you, but from the different industries, we always want to have some of you in that groups. So please contact us when you have interest to join us in that direction. That's some general information. And of course, we started also already 1 year ago with the WWCCB team. And this time, EMEA leads that direction and this team, but it doesn't mean that we have more votes, that we have more whites. No, we're only organizing the calls. And of course, together with Panayotis Laimos, we are really straight on documentation. We started, again, as mentioned, already last year. And now we nearly concluded. You have seen FSR has been published already on the 1st of June. We are planning to launch and publish the TSR, hopefully on the 1st of July. Could be also alternatively the 15th of July. We have not finalized we have not agreed globally on the last version. That is something, hopefully we get some responses from the other regions also by next Friday, and then we start to design and to update the TSR version as well. But also to say, it was really good discussions we had in the WWCCB, really neutral, different perspectives, but we always came to a conclusion. And that's also the progress what Marcel mentioned this morning. We are working closer than ever before. And that's, of course, also a good direction. What means the TSR and FSR revision? And of course, what can you expect from the future training? New training modules, as Thorsten already mentioned yesterday. Of course, we have a new design, or we will have a new design. We are working on new video sequences. We are planning to visit some of our member facilities and companies in 3 weeks' time. And of course, all of you know Mattis, you know what you can expect from our recordings and his team, and we will do a lot of new video sequences in wrapping up the modules. Further, we are updating the exam questions, we have a new design for the certificates, and of course, multiple language options. And I expect that we continue again with 7 languages, but in first instance, for us, it's most important that we roll out the training material, and that's what we are planning for mid of August. So we will keep you updated as soon as we have the material available. Could be that we start online and the known Synthesia module from mid of August, and it could be that we start for TSR with 2 teams call. It depends how much progress and how the development continues. And that's always the importance what I mentioned and made clear also to all the regions. Let's start early enough and to do not have this hurry at the end, but at least I hope that we can settle everything, that we can at least give you a training opportunity by mid of August. So that gives you at least 1 month's time to prepare yourself. Of course, you can already prepare right now with the FSR. We have uploaded a version where you can see all the changes highlighted in blue. We are not talking about a revolution, and that was the outcome of the overall global discussions and all the topics brought up by the different regions. And similar is also what you can expect for the TSR standard in the future. So we will also upload a highlighted version, and of course you can expect some major information in our Vigilant. Good. That's the update related to the revision. Also, to conclude PSR and next steps, optionally some of you expect that we talking about a revision also for the PSR standard. We postponed that revision due to some ongoing discussions about the SSTPA, the European Commission standard, and the European Commission invited us now by end or by September to a roundtable to discuss and talk, and we had already some good chats. Optionally, you have seen it in Vigilant. We visited Truck Parking Rotterdam, and thanks to Ton van Barten, always really supporter from TAPA EMEA, and has also the most certificates. Again, thanks to him. We will continue in discussing with the European Commission next steps on the SSTPA, so stay tuned on that, and as soon as we have an update for you, of course, we will inform you. Driver training, and that's what I have mentioned, and Thorsten mentioned it as well. We are launching the biggest ever training opportunity and the biggest benefit in the past, as from now and from this moment ongoing. Each member company, so each company, all of you have from now ongoing 50 driver trainings free of charge, available on your training platform, on your TAPA login. From now on, you have 50 driver trainings in 7 different languages you can use for your companies. It is all related to your company logo, to your company name. You will also find a video tutorial how to use it. You click on the 50 driver trainings, you create a QR code, you can forward that QR code to your driver. The driver fills out the name and gets, of course, afterwards a letter of participation. And that's also useful for the certification scheme. The training is divided and split in 3 parts. It's a modular approach. The driver can always do the training whenever it fits for him. So they can start, they can stop, they can continue whenever they have the time for doing it. Important is only that we have a limitation of 1 month. So since the first time used that QR code, the driver has to finalize the course in 1 month's time. That is also now something we set up a new learning management software, as the learning management software we used previously for the standard trainings has a limitation of 1,000 licenses. And that's the reason we are testing now a new platform. But we have also to be a bit careful how many drivers can work simultaneously at the same time on that material. And let's wait and see, but I'm really happy and proud, and I think that's also really impressive. It covers 55,000 driver trainings for our industry, and you have the benefits on that. And if you have questions, yeah, I think that's really important, and it's a huge number, and we discussed also, shall we give you more, shall we give you less? And of course, Thorsten won, you get 50 trainings per company. Optionally, let's keep an eye on that. Optionally next year. And again, next year, you get another 50. And if you need more, it is cost-wise 25 euro for a member per driver. And you can always and quickly count and add that, what benefit it is. And we are not increasing the fees. It is a benefit in your annual fee. And I think that's really impressive. Thanks also to TAPA for that. Let's move on with standard support. And I mentioned already, I see myself only always as a referee, and important is that we have support from our standard team, from our supporters, from the field, and that's also our teams have now worked on a new guidance document. You know, we have already locking system guidance, CCTV system, telematics, multi-site certification, and of course, after the revision, we will also adjust that guidance documents immediately. But now, first priority has FSR and TSR updates, and then, of course, we will continue with the other guidance documents. But we also listen to our members, and we, of course, especially focus right now on the TSR subcontracting guidance, is focusing on certified companies, but also we will roll out a TSR fake carrier avoidance guidance document. So to give you something on hand, you can check, you can use, you can of course ask potential subcontractors about these major information. But I know that Thorsten also comes back later on the new initiative, and that goes in the same direction. It is really important that we reacting on fake carriers and that we give you more guidance on hand how to use such kind of solutions. And this will be also launched in the next 4 weeks, so stay tuned on that. And of course, we are returning immediately with some more details. But 2 new guidance documents will be launched in the next 4 weeks. GSR standard update, and I'm also happy to share some more information about that. You recognized we have sent out surveys. Last year we started the initiative to ask you how much interest we have from the EMEA members on the GSR. Of course, you know GSR is a certification program developed in Asia Pacific, and of course we are in a close communication right now with the APEC team. How we can use it, is it certifiable, does it need to be certifiable? And of course, from the responses we received in EMEA, we don't go for a certifiable program in the first moment. But we want to share, of course, guidance, support on that standard, and why not using a standard which is already established and integrated, and that was the initiative behind. But also we learned from the responses from the webinar, more than 360 participants only in that webinar, and the survey responses, that the interest is limited on the certification program. And of course, you know, there's always a lot of work behind the development and translations and documentation of such kind of program. And that's the reason why we're also a bit careful, as it's invest of your members' money, and if we do not see the interest that much, of course, we cannot focus on 10 or 20 certs. We are talking about 1,100 member companies in the meantime, and that's of course something we have to take care about, but we will continue in discussing and talking with the APEC team, using the GSR, and depending on the outcome, then we inform you if you can download or use the GSR from the webpage, or if we're going in the guidance direction and we create separate documentation. But that is something only to keep you updated right now. Digitization and training tools, of course, I mentioned it already, optionally you have seen. If, or for those of you who haven't seen it yet, I've spoken about the new application, about the driver trainings, and under the My TAPA login, you all have a new training application. What means? It is a new design. It is more professional, gives you more animations, and at least it is more traceable. So the main representatives can always check what is the status of the training, centralized voucher administration, that's important. Training, registration, integration, automated invoicing, such kind of things are the benefits from these new training application, and we rolled out already 4 months ago, and now we are adjusting, we are adding more trainings, and it's more comfortable for you at the end. That's another benefit for you, and more to come. As Thorsten mentioned it already, you have seen our Tapatron yesterday already, and that is the direction and the future of the TAPA EMEA's region. Launching global training concept, and to come to an end, is we are going globally in the same training direction. What means the same design, new animations, new web app videos, but globally the modular approach, we are going globally with the Synthesia version and solution, and we are all using the same training material. And that's also a good step in the right direction to initiate that kind of global approach in developing and delivering trainings. And that concludes more or less my standards update, hopefully in time, and give you some forecast and information about the future of the standards. And stay tuned. We have a lot on our agenda, and we have, again, Thorsten always mentioned there is no finish line. We are always working to improve your benefits and to give you most support.
Markus, thank you so much for that update. Again, lots of questions coming in the chat. We won't get to them all, but I know you are here and around, and you always love people coming to ask questions. So the first one is about a pharmaceutical, picking up on yesterday. Is there a plan to adapt the APAC PFSR or an additional guidance in accordance to that, or is there a working group planned related to pharmaceutical manufacturing and transportation?
It's a clear answer. No, we are not going in the pharmaceutical direction, as of course we see this is a niche. Of course, it's important, it's needed. We have the biggest pharmaceutical players in our membership, but in general, the FSR covers everything what we need. And of course, this kind of niche or temperature controlled can be always see separated and agreed also separated in contracts. That's our view.
Thank you. Another one coming in, a bit long, so just bear with me. As a shipper and member, we would like to help spread the word and encourage LSPs to join TAPA. The free drivers training could be very attractive to many carriers out there. How can we use the information? Is there a flyer or something explaining the initiative and the requirements?
At least we have, of course, information on the webpage. We have general information about the different topics, about the different modules. So we have a basic module, we have a general module, and we are focusing on one module on TSR level 1, important topics for the drivers, so that everything is covered in that driver training. But you find all the details on the webpage, under standards, click on driver trainings, and you have all the information. And of course, we can also prepare a kind of flyer. There is a flyer there also. Don't forget about the guidance document we also have on the webpage, ready to download in 17 different languages. So use that document.
One very quickly about driver vouchers to contractors, subcontractors. How do we get the vouchers to the drivers?
Of course, you can also forward it to subcontractors or to contract partners, but it is connected always to your membership name and your CRM number, similar what we also have initiated, integrated on the certifications, so that we have always a cross-reference between the membership company. So you can hand over, but it's always connected to your member company name.
We had a question asking about the chance to review the draft FSR that they've not been circulated, I think, but I understand they're on the website.
Yeah, we have launched on the 1st of June the standard, and we changed also a bit the process. As some of you may know, when we started with rolling out FSR and TSR, we always shared the final or the draft version, but due to the time we have used in discussions with the other regions, we stopped that already with the 2023 version. And we have the sub-teams integrated as voice of the members. And of course, as mentioned, we always invite everybody to join us on that revision cycle and that sub-teams. But the sub-team is the voice of the member. And we have right now, or especially this year, also not the time to share first, to collect another 1,100 member responses. And that was also the reason why we stopped that already with the 2023 revision.
Thank you so much, Markus. Please join me in thanking Markus Prinz. Thank you.
Thank you.